Hey guys, it's Jen. Okay, so today is literally one of my most favorite things to talk about. So today is the day that we're going to start thinking about what you're thinking about. So what we want to do is really get into the idea of paying attention to our thoughts, because our thoughts are kind of what fuel where we're at in life, the paradigm that we're in, the things that show up in our life, the way things go. like like simple example, do you have any thoughts, beliefs? So okay, so here's why I like working with thoughts so much, is because when we can think about what we're thinking about, and when we start to look at and analyze those thoughts, we can really dig in deep into where our limiting beliefs are, where we're holding ourselves back by patterns that we've learned, all of those kind of things. Like, our brain is so amazing, and it gets used to thinking, and what happens is it's almost like driving on a dirt road. Like, you get so used to thinking in a certain way that that's just where your brain goes, because that's what it's used to do. It's used to taking this route. Okay. So very good example of really being in a space of what you think about is what you create. Now, you'll hear this, if you're into law of attraction at all, you'll hear like the phrase, what you think about, you bring about, or thoughts are things. Those kind of slogans are what's out there, right? But there's really a lot of power to that, because what you think about really does create part of your reality. So now that being said, like, you don't have to worry about every little thought you have, because it's when you combine the thought with the emotions and then the inspired action behind it, that's how you really manifest something. But I will tell you that when you're first learning to be aware, and first awakening to the fact that you do create your own life and your own reality, the thoughts are like the gold mine, because you can find so many things in here. So for example, my husband and I travel. We love it. We have a good time. Don't usually have issues. Like, we fly all the time, no big deal, like whatever. But it was interesting that when we traveled with other people, they've had like these beliefs that every time something happens, every time I go, like I lose a bag, or I get held up in security, like all of these things, and they say it out loud, and then that's what happens. So it's been really interesting to see, like, with when we do things with certain people, like what happens, because it really depends on that person's belief. And so this is where sometimes, like, bumping into other people's is where the co-creation comes in. So be careful with who you're co-creating with, because their beliefs are also going to show up at the same time. So it's just kind of a funny story. But I just want you to understand that there's so much power in what are you thinking, right? So what I want you to do today is just really be aware. Now, normally I like to teach this over a period of a few days, because I like people to first just get used to the idea of, okay, I'm going to start thinking about the thoughts I have every day. And then when you just are like, oh, I wonder where that thought came from, right? You start being aware of the thoughts. Then what I like to do is really start dissecting them, and having them like keep track of what are some recurring thoughts that you can see, or that you're noticing that they're limiting beliefs or limiting patterns. Where are those little thoughts that you have showing up as limiting beliefs? I'm trying to think, like, of some other ideas. Where are you thinking that you can't do anything right? Like, that's one of the things that used to pop in my head all the time. And when I got really like intentional about thinking, or about paying attention to the thoughts that I was thinking, it was amazing what showed up. One of my really big ones was, you can't do anything right. Like, that was somehow something that my voice in my mind, that nasty little mean girl in my head, used to say, is that it was always something about I wasn't good enough, right? It was many different forms of that, but basically that's kind of what it boiled down to. So what I want you to do is just look at, where are you having those recurring thoughts that are maybe not the nicest thoughts? Because where those little thoughts that show up, that, again, you guys, that's where the gold is, because we can retrain ourselves to think differently. We can retrain our brains to think new thoughts. So seriously, you guys, this is why I like teaching this so much, is because we want to look at the way we speak and the way we think, more so what we think, because a lot of how we think is what's going to come out in our voice. But when we really dig into creating a life we love, we want to have our thoughts and the things that we're saying in alignment with the intentional things that we're doing to really begin to create a life we love. So have fun a little bit. Like, don't knock yourself down. If you're seeing that you have limiting beliefs, don't get discouraged, because that's actually a good thing, because that's actually showing you the gold mine of where you can start making the transformation really happen. So it's super exciting. Again, you guys, this is one of my favorite things. And I still, to this day, will find thoughts that I'm like, oh my God, where did that come from? But it's always good, because that means I'm at that next level of coming more into alignment with more abundance and more things that I really want to experience in my life. So really be in that space of thinking about what you're thinking about. Pay attention to your thoughts, write them down, really, really take notice, and really pay attention to the ones that are like what I call the nasty little mean girl. So the negative thoughts that you're thinking about yourself. In the book, there's some examples. So again, refer to that. The chapter is going to be, what are you thinking? I'm pretty sure that's the name of the chapter. And so look at that, kind of go through for yourself, like, what are the thoughts you're thinking? Just being aware of that, you guys, is huge. So I am so excited about this day. I'll be looking forward to looking in the Facebook group to see the interaction and see what's coming up for everybody. I'm excited to help you about these. The limiting beliefs are one of my favorite things to work on. So love you guys. Hope you're having a good time, and we'll talk to you soon.